Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the April 20th edition of the Monday Project meeting, where we've got status updates coming to you from across the Mozilla Project. As is customary with this meeting, we're going to open with Friends of Mozilla. These are people who have gone above and beyond the call of duty and are worthy of some recognition this week. This week's nomination is to welcome four new council members, Faisal, Manel, Sheena, and Tim, to the Reps Council for one-year terms. The council is the program's 9-member governing body composed of 2 permanently appointed staff members and 7 elected volunteers who serve these 12-month terms. The council, among other activities, serves as an advisory body within the Mozilla organization. So thank you to everyone who stepped up and nominated themselves for these elections. Thank you to everyone who voted, and welcome to our 4 new council members. Going to do a quick refresh to see if any other friends have come on the list. It doesn't look like it, so with that, we move to upcoming events. Today, Monday, April 20th, we have an edition of the Add-ons Community Meeting. Join us to discuss recent happenings in the add-ons community. Call-in information is available in the wiki. More information about this meeting happening at 1600 UTC are linked in the wiki agenda. Next week, on Thursday, April 30th, we have another edition
Fiddle,
of the...
what's up with you, boy?
Next week, on Thursday, April 20th, we have another edition of the ET Speaker Series with Ghost Work in the Pandemic Times with Mary L. Gray. Mary L. Gray is a senior principal researcher at Microsoft Research and an Edward J. Safra Center for Ethics Fellow at Harvard University, and maintains a faculty position in the School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering within the affiliations of Anthropology and Gender Studies at Indiana University. The topic for this week, Ghost Work in the Pandemic Times. Gray will draw from Ghost Work, How to Stop Silicon Valley from Building a New Global Underclass, her 2019 book co-authored with computer scientist Siddharth Suri, to argue that public health and economic recovery hinge on reckoning with the value of on-demand workers. The talk will outline the rise of on-demand services and the labor conditions and market flows that organize it. She'll connect the global shift away from a shared worksite, co-present colleagues, and secure employment status many are experiencing today to the lessons learned from people who have been navigating ghost work conditions for more than a decade. Gray will end with a warning about another form of ghost work on the horizon. If not stopped now, the drive to develop automated contact tracing could reinforce the paradox of automation's last mile, a relentless tech optimism that draws our attention to tech innovation as it elides the value of contingent human labor. Weathering the COVID-19 pandemic will require building technologies that assist and amplify rather than erase trusted healthcare workers. So join us next Thursday, April 30th at 10:30 a.m., broadcast live on Air Mozilla to Mozillians and NDA'd Mozillians. We also have in the agenda a list of upcoming events that are happening beyond a week out and available complimentary tickets. The DevRel team will continue to update these events as events come on, are postponed, or canceled. So stay tuned to this wiki agenda for those updates. And with that, we move to the speakers section of our meeting today. And first up, we have Jared Wine of the Firefox team with the weekly Firefox update.
Thanks, Asa. Today is April 20th, and Firefox 75 is our latest stable release. 75 shipped about 2 weeks ago on April 7th, and it includes, among other things, a totally revamped address bar. Firefox 76 is in the beta channel and makes it out to our stable release audience in about 2 weeks on May 5th. Beta 7, 8, and 9 go out today, Wednesday, and Friday. And that means that next week is RC week. As a reminder, our 4-week release cycle consists of 3 weeks of 3 betas each, followed by 1 week of release candidates. Firefox 77 is in the nightly channel, and it will arrive for our stable release users on June 2nd. There are 10 more days of active development on nightly before we hit the soft code freeze, meaning that developers should not land code that is deemed risky and that new features controlled by a pref not be activated during this week. Over the last week, there have been about 400 bugs resolved as fixed, including these notable ones. Firefox now allows for merging content security policy headers provided by multiple extensions. Before this change, users could get unexpected results as it was possible for 2 extensions, each setting a content security policy to conflict. The padding for Bookmark toolbar items has been increased for easier use with touchscreens. Before this change, the new address bars expansion made it more difficult than it needed to be to activate bookmarks with touch. Firefox now has a new prompt type called Tab Modal System Prompts. Where possible, our current system window prompts will be switched over to these new prompts. The last of the extended validation code and prefs have been removed. Users can no longer re-enable the EV UI in About Config. The Remote Canvas 2D has been enabled in Windows Nightly builds. This is part of the work to remove GPU access from the content process so that we can improve the sandbox policy. Cookie purging has been enabled on Nightly. This is part of Enhanced Tracking Protection Phase 2. We now clear cookies from sites on the TP list that you have been redirected to but don't interact with. And last, Phoenix for Android now supports landmark navigation for screen readers, and typing text with a screen reader is much more usable now. Those are today's Firefox updates, and I'll pass it back to you, Asa.
Thank you, Jared. I remembered to unmute this time. Next up, we have Andy Kokendorfer coming to us with the Weekly Minute. Andy, take it away.
We have several updates in the minute today. In Zoom news, 3 tips from the ABC team to help meeting hosts prevent unforeseeable interruptions, infinitely known as Zoom bombings. First, in 3 clicks or less. A meeting host can lock a live meeting to keep unwanted participants out. Additionally, the host can enable the waiting room option, which will allow the administration of each participant as they attempt to join the call. These options are available to the meeting host under the new Security button in the control panel and are an easy safeguard against interruptions. Second, to implement ongoing precautionary measures, our team has published a recommendation of security and privacy level settings that you can implement as you create, update, or participate in meetings. Start by categorizing your meeting. Then, review the recommended settings and read the security benefits. This past week, Zoom increased the meeting entropy for unique meeting IDs to 11. We highly recommend using unique meeting IDs as a standard default for scheduling meetings. See the link for instructions. Third, avoid posting or sharing your meeting IDs in public spaces. Keep an eye out for additional content on Zoom security from our team over the next few weeks and reach out to us for assistance. Up next, 2 great updates that support IT's 2020 main focus of streamlining business capabilities. First, effective today, and speaking of security, 1Password has been approved for all Mozillians. The service was upgraded from Teams to Business. In addition to finer permissions, client access controls for vaults, and automated provisioning capabilities, the upgrade grants free family membership accounts. Now you and your loved ones can enjoy the benefits of secure password management. If you already have a 1Password account, head to the web interface and see your new superpowers. If you don't have an account, now is the time to request one. On that note, April 30th will be the last day for LastPass service. Special thanks to the Service Desk, Vendor Management Office, and the Enterprise Information Security teams for their amazing effort. Lastly, in an effort to facilitate our support services and improve our response on Slack, the Audio-Video Collaborations team, also known as AV Ops, will migrate our support response services to the Service Desk channel on April 24th. The AV Ops channel will be archived. You can now obtain a faster response and even more amazing services from 2 great teams in one channel. You can flag us by using either @AVC or @AVOps or @AV. That's it for the minute. Keep collaborating and stay safe, Mozilla.
Thank you, Andy. Next up, we have Josh Marinacci with the Weekly Emerging Technologies Update. Josh?
Thank you. We've got a bunch of mixed reality stuff this week. April 20th, new VR releases. The Servo team published a new release of Firefox Reality to the Microsoft Store. Compared to the last release, there are significant performance improvements, support for both VR and HoloLens 2 lens headsets, support for modern Babylon JS, 3JS, and A-frame web content, and more. The Hubs team published a new update to the early adopters of Hubs Cloud. This rolled out improvements that have been made since the initial offering was published to the AWS Marketplace, and includes a number of new features and performance optimizations that we've been testing on hubs.mozilla.com. Interest in Hubs as a meeting venue and collaboration space continues to be strong from individuals, communities, and enterprises, providing us with great feedback and ways to increase Hubs' value and impact. Voice of the Edge. Alex Lissy from our speech and machine learning team gave a deep speech and Web of Things talk at the IoT Fuse conference on private edge-based voice AI for everything in cooperation with Matrix Labs. IoT Fuse is a large and rapidly growing professional network of makers, innovators, and business leaders in the Internet of Things space. Alex's work and talk demonstrated how deep speech could bring voice recognition into edge industrial and consumer device applications.
Thank you, Josh. I've done a quick refresh of the agenda to see if any other presenters have come on. It doesn't look like it. So with that, we move to the concluding section of our weekly meeting, where we take this opportunity to welcome some new Mozillians. And we've got an introduction coming to you from Ben Wilson. Please roll the video.
Hi, I'm Ben Wilson. I'm the new Technical Program Manager for the Mozilla Root program, and I'm really excited to be working with all of you and for Mozilla. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, which is behind me, and I went to the University of Utah off to the right, and the Great Salt Lake is further behind us, and that's where Salt Lake City gets its name. We're surrounded by mountains, and I like to ski, hike, and play tennis. I've been working in PKI for over 20 years. I started at Digital Signature Trust, then IdenTrust, and then at DigiCert. Over that time, I worked on certification practice statements. Those are documents that certification authorities submit to Mozilla to demonstrate that they are complying with Mozilla requirements. In this new role, I'll be reviewing those documents and making sure that CAs remain compliant with Mozilla requirements. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you, and I hope to meet you in person soon. Thanks.
Welcome, Ben Wilson. I hope that we all get to meet in person soon as well. With that, we are all wrapped up for the week. Thank you to our presenters today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Until then, stay safe, stay home, and keep on rocking the free web.